Alright, so the reason I'm making this video today was we had a problem with this panel. One of the devices was setting off the system into trouble, which means it wasn't an alarm where we needed the fire trucks, it was just a trouble signal. There was a trouble with the device. It was malfunctioning. The system still operates when this registers a trouble signal. You're going to hear a little beep. It's an annoying little beep. This panel is saying, hey, anybody close by, we've got a little bit of a problem. Now, if you have a real problem, this thing's going to set off the alarms, the bells, the horns, the whistles, everything. Trouble signals are this little annoying beep, and when you hear it, you'll know it. But anyway, this thing was malfunctioning because it was sensing the trouble, and the monitoring company was registering the trouble signal and notifying the service company to come out and, the next day kind of thing, service it. But it was automatically also tripping the alarm. So the fire department was coming out and getting very annoyed. So were all the people in the building, so it was a mess. So without giving you all the other details that led to the final thing today, which was, hey, we got to actually replace this panel. And that's what it came to. We had the panel itself was sending an incorrect signal of alarm when it should have just been in trouble. So they're inside these things right here. There's one more step in the process. It's called an automatic dialer. That automatic dialer is programmed with the number to the monitoring company. When this thing sends out a signal, it uses that dialer to actually dial the phone to that company, so that otherwise they're not going to communicate. So you need phone lines for these panels. Very important. You need a primary phone line that's dedicated for this panel. Nothing else could be attached to it. You can't piggyback it onto an elevator phone or a residential phone within a building or any other phone. It's got 2 plugs in this thing for 2 lines. The one line has to be dedicated for this purpose. That's going to be, we used to call them PL lines or commercial lines. It's not a residential phone line. And there's another issue with the wireless, and the digital type signals. These things work best on analog. Analog phone lines are going away. So technology is changing, and the infrastructure of analog and digital lines and the required bandwidth for these things is a challenge. So you'll have to get with your professional if you've got issues with the dialer working properly or the signals getting transmitted properly over the proper kind of phone line. It's very important. So anyway, we had to actually replace this panel. So I'm going to tell you in a second what that required. Okay, we got a thing in the industry called Firewatch. Firewatch is right up there in the top 5 with the word special assessment for a condo or an HOA. Everybody loves to hate the word special assessment. In this case, the Firewatch, the call came in yesterday at 4 o'clock. And hey, we came out to service the panel and the panel won't respond at all, just went dead. So he said, we need to overnight a new panel, we don't keep them in stock. Well, what that means is this, that when this doohickey is not doing the job for you, you got to do the job yourself. The job is to make sure that there's no smoke or fire in the building at any time. If there is a smoke or a fire in the building, you have to call the fire department. This thing is 24/7 doing that. If this thing isn't there, you have to provide a person, a live human being. And we hilariously call it, a nice night out, like a date with the building, because what you have to do is you have to stay awake, and there's a log, it's called a Firewatch log. And every hour you have to walk the building and the hallways and inspect everything and write on there and sign your name that there was no issues, that all was clear. You have to have a phone, because if you do the walk during one of those inspections and you sense trouble, you have to call the fire department. So other than that, you're sipping hot coffee or hot tea or hot cocoa. And you're on a cold night, you're bundling up and you're staying outside the best you can and you're watching the building. The best thing to do is to have volunteers in your building sign up for a few hours so that one person doesn't lose a whole night's sleep. And as a property manager, yesterday at 5 o'clock, I was staring right in the face of staying up all day and all night watching this building. Because there aren't services out there that you can hire to do that. You have to figure that out yourself. You have to be resourceful. And it's not fair to ask the property manager to do that, or the maintenance man, because everybody's got to get up the next day and do a full day's work. So we got together in this community and we made a way. And there was a tag team, and you know what? We pulled it off. And it's 4 o'clock the next day, and the serviceman just left, and I'm going to superimpose a picture of the old panel that he left with me for the purpose of this video, so you can see the circuitry involved. And so we're up and running. Now, he ran the bells and the whistles, did the test. He found that there were a couple of just small issues with the system. He's going to come back tomorrow and he's going to fix those. But they're just little things that, again, don't cause the system to not function. It's even if you have a little trouble here and there, the system's going to work. It's going to go into alarm when it needs to go into alarm. Trouble signals are just little things for maintenance. So it's a big deal. The other thing I want to tell you is a manager or a volunteer or a homeowner in a condo or HOA should never touch this panel. This panel can only be touched by a licensed fire safety company person, because a lot of people like to play with these things because they don't like those sounds, and they open them up, they get a key somehow. You really shouldn't have a key, but if they get a key somehow and there's a button in there, you can silence that alarm. You can never do that, because the alarm is going off for a reason, and it has to do with life safety. Don't ever do that. Do the diligence to make the call to take care of the problem as soon as you can. And that fire service person will come out and he'll silence the beep, he'll fix the problem, and that's how you solve that problem. You don't solve the problem by just making the little beep go away. That's not a good thing to do. So anyway, this is my video on fire alarm panels, our little situation, what we had to do, fire watch, top 5 of words I do not want to hear as a property manager. That's right up there with hurricanes and special assessments. Here's our panel. Here's our sub panel. That's our call box, and we're good to go for this video. Thanks for watching.